I got myself in a lot of trouble. When it comes to recovery and addiction, I didn't have a lot of choices. No one was asking me, Blaze, what do you want to do to solve this problem? I was cornered. So I had to go to treatment. And before I actually went to treatment, I had a friend who I feel really grateful that I met, who was really into the Kabbalah. And he also had this book, Power versus Force, on his shelf. And I remember we were hanging out one night, and I was starting to realize, inevitably, that drugs don't go anywhere. That the first, when you start to do drugs, they're really exciting. And then progressively, the charm leaves and the addiction increases, and it just says it's a dead end. And one day he's talking about the books, and I'm thinking about it, and I just sort of said spirituality. I mean, that's what's left, right? I mean, I guess I'm just going to have to get into spirituality. And I just sort of knew that. So I used drugs, and I was like, okay, participating in life, showing up, caring, going for it is clearly the only thing that's going to work. Because the reason my life was so bad before that is because I was hiding, avoiding, lying. I was moving away from everything constantly. And that didn't leave me with much. That put me in a really tough spot. It was not an easy transition, though. I mean, I had to, when you're a drug addict, you have terrible discipline, no clarity. It's not easy to revolutionize your life. So I went to a treatment center, which created structure. They created really simple rules. They created a framework. All you have to do, just like the military, all you have to do is do what they tell you to do. That's it. And the first experience that really hooked me, right? I started to realize that it was actually exciting and enjoyable and enlivening to be in treatment. And the first experience I remember really hooking me, I was in a group therapy, and this counselor named Jim, I'd said something intellectual or meaningful, and he said, that's really profound, Blaze. Maybe you could put that in a book someday. But I'm wondering, can you tell me how you feel right now? And I felt really embarrassed and exposed, and I realized immediately that I was just saying things and I had no idea how I felt. But the reason this hooked me is because I was curious. I wanted to know how I felt. And even more than that, how could I not know how I feel? Like what a strange thing to not know yourself. And it started to hook me of like, oh, there's a process of self-discovery it's a good match for my intelligence. It's something worthy of inquiry, of my attention. It's a project worth undertaking. So, the rest of the time I was in treatment, my mantra kind of became like, well, what's true? Like, what's actually happening? How do I actually feel?